morning, everyone. It is Thursday morning, October 4th. This is WGTV Today. I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kim Best. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Hope you're doing well today. It is a Thursday and the fair goes on and the weather is just turning. It is going to be fantastic by the end of the week. And Saturday, which will be the last day of the fair. So if you haven't been to the fair, you don't want to miss this one. This one is greater than all the others have been. And I don't know how Milton Ingram has done it, but it just gets better every year.
It is so organized. I've been a couple times. It is so organized. Everything is in its place. It was just so much easier to maneuver around than I've remembered in the past.
It really was.
It's better and better every year.
It does get better and better every year. Now tonight, the 4th of October, we have, of course, the gates open at 4 o'clock and the midway starts at 5 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, we have an open pony and mule show.
Oh, wow.
Right. Some of my relatives used to enter, well, no, my relatives, no, they're not really mules, but they pretend to be. Almost Amazing Rex and Dana Ryan, the Hanson's Thrill Show, the Kids Magic Show this evening. Also an Illusions program. The 9th through 12th grade talent contest is tonight.
Oh, that's always fun.
That's always great.
What time does that start?
That starts this evening at 7 o'clock in the entertainment arena. Now, that's the big yellow building up near the highway. You won't want to miss that one. That's always fun.
That is really interesting. I don't know if you've seen that before or been before, but I've been for years and since my children were little. And it's really interesting to see the talent of such little children.
I know.
I'm not sure what the age categories are now, but it used to be like young, like from 2nd grade, I believe, on up.
Right. Well, now tonight is the 9th through 12th grade.
Okay, so tonight's just high school.
So, right, just high school. But I'm telling you, we have some amazing talent here in Wayne County.
We do.
And I'm always surprised at at the quality of talent we have here. We have youngsters and older folks as well who can sing, can dance. I remember this past Tuesday, a couple of days ago, out at the Senior Day.
Right.
They have a talent contest there for Senior Day, and it's fantastic.
Oh, I bet it was great.
Oh, it was great. The singing, it was just first class. Oh, I wanted to mention as well, I failed to mention at the spelling contest 2 nights ago, we get a tremendous amount of support from Wayne Community College out there. Okay. And I know I'm deviating from the program here, but I wanted to give credit to Wayne Community College because they support the spelling contest in such a grand and a great way. They, including the 3 judges that were there that night, Jeff Williams, Crystal Burnett, and Natasha Washington, all in the English department at Wayne Community College. They were just fantastic. They kept me straight, which is a job in itself, and they just did a wonderful job out there. So Jeff and Crystal and Natasha, thank you so much for helping us out there.
They're all about supporting education.
That's exactly right. Kim, on today's program, you talk with Scott Stevens, or Scott Stevens talks with Scott Stevens, the city manager. He
addresses the community.
He addresses the community. And what kind of program is this now?
Well, we've talked about it a little bit earlier in the week. What city manager Scott Stevens is going to do on a regular basis is once a month, he's going to give a state of the city. And it's like an update on what is going on and what has happened throughout that month. Now, his very first update is going to be a little bit longer because he's giving you a background on himself, but also he's starting back to when he first started a little over a year ago and is giving you an update on what all has happened and changed throughout that year within the city. Right. So on an ongoing basis, he'll just give monthly updates on what's happening within the city.
Well, that's great. That's great. Looking forward to hearing from Scott. Also, Goldsboro Police Chief Jeff Stewart will be with us today. You talked with him.
I did.
And I spoke with JIMMIE EDMUNDSON about a very controversial topic that may have a very detrimental effect on everyone here in Wayne County. And we're going to talk to JIMMIE about that in just a few minutes. Stay tuned for all that.
That's right.
All right. All right. First of all, I guess we're going to go to Scott Stevens now and the state of the state here.
State of the city.
State of the city on WGTV Today.
Hello. I'm Scott Stevens, Goldsboro City Manager. It has been a pleasure for me getting to know the community, business leaders, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, and our employees over the past year. I want to thank the Mayor and Council for allowing me to serve the community as your City Manager. I would also like to thank our employees for choosing to work for the City of Goldsboro. They're a great group of people, committed and dedicated to serving our community. Before I get too far in sharing what I consider some of the highlights of the past year, I would like to share a little bit about myself. For those that don't know me, I grew up in Cary, but my grandmother lived in Beaufort. So I've spent my entire life traveling through Goldsboro and knew a lot about Goldsboro along US 70. I went to college at NC State University, graduated in civil engineering, and went to work for our State Department of Transportation in Raleigh. After a few years in Raleigh, I transferred to Kinston with the Department of Transportation. In 1998, I went to work for the City of Kinston as their city engineer, became their public services director, and for the past four and a half years, from August of 2011 backwards, served as Kinston City Manager. I was a Reserve Naval Officer for 8 years, and after I resigned my commission, I completed a master's degree in public administration at East Carolina University. I'm married to Robin Souza, who grew up in Nahana, so we spent a lot of time here over the past 20 years with parades and summer times and other events, eating and shopping in the Goldsboro community. We have 2 sons, Jonathan, who's 14, and Daniel, who's 11. We've adjusted very well to Goldsboro and have purchased a home over behind the Outback area. When I'm not at work, I enjoy time with my boys. If it has a ball or something to hit, we probably do it, although not always well. We take a lot of short trips and enjoy the beach, being outdoors, and boating. We've been active members in the United Methodist Church our whole lives and have been attending St. Luke United Methodist Church here in Goldsboro. With that said, I'd like to move on to the year in review, or at least what I've seen and some of the highlights over the past year. Most recently, we've had a lot of homicides in Goldsboro, and I think I'll start there to at least assure you that our police department and chief, mayor and council are working hard to address this issue. In the short term, and that is, what are we doing today in response to these violent activities? We are investigating these crimes and making arrests, and I would say that's our first and foremost, that once a violent act has occurred, is making sure that we are capturing or arresting those that have created that for our community. We're also deploying a mobile command center where we're moving them throughout the community, and we have officers working in and out of that command center. Our chief has moved to a more community-oriented policing model whereby we're keeping our officers in the same zones longer, encouraging them to get out and speak with citizens, and that seems to be having a positive effect in terms of the community getting to know us and also with information they're sharing with us. We continue with community meetings and involvement with community groups that are concerned, and would continue to ask for your help in reporting things that don't look right or rumors that you're hearing through the community to our police department. That will help us in the short term. But how do we stop the violence in the long term? And that is a challenge in a country we live in with the rights we all have of stopping the violence. We do recognize in Goldsboro that the people that are committing violence are a limited group of our population, and we know most of them. They have a history in the court system. The City Council has funded an additional position within our police department to bring our law enforcement efforts, along with the court system, along with the community, together to bring us face to face with these known offenders, to help them one last time to make a choice. Don't break the law or face serious penalties and jail time if you break the law again. This has worked in other communities, has had astounding success in reducing the violent crime rate, and I think you'll see more of that coming from us in the next 3 to 6 to 12 months. Again, that's a longer term approach to reduction in crime, but I think we are excited that it will have an impact here as well. Moving on to other things, I had heard a lot of good things about Goldsboro, its employees, and the community before coming to work here. And I'd like to tell you what I heard and what I've experienced this past year has held true to what I heard before I arrived. We have committed, intelligent employees working to make this a great place to live and work. I like the banner on the city's websites that reads, "We value integrity, professionalism, collaboration, and promoting quality of life." I believe all of our customers are in the customer service business, and I expect them to be friendly, professional, and efficient at their jobs. And I think most of us are. As I consider what I might share with you, I spent a fair amount of time thinking about the past year and what we've done. When I arrived in August of 2011, Hurricane Irene changed the work priorities and was not far behind my arrival. It was a great opportunity for me to see our employees working in action during a stressful event. I was immediately impressed, and getting to know them has been a top priority for me. I have also worked hard to get to know the community. I have attended many events sponsored by our Chamber of Commerce and Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. I have spoken to numerous civic clubs, community groups, and almost anyone that asked me to come. We have a lot of ideas and passionate people in the community, and I appreciate hearing from all of them. I've been extremely impressed in the relationship between the city, county, Chamber of Commerce, and again, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. I knew we worked together well, but I have really enjoyed building these relationships and am very appreciative of the positive involvement that Seymour Johnson Air Force Base personnel choose to make in our community. They are much more involved than they have to be, and that is very, very much appreciated and shows throughout the community. I believe in sharing information with people, our employees and citizens, and encourage you to ask questions when you have them. If you want to know why the city is doing something, ask us. You may not always agree with why we're doing it, but I would at least like you to understand why we felt it was the right decision to recommend to our city council, or why our mayor and city council felt it was the right decision for the community. Our website has a lot of current information with the Citizen Request tab in the top left corner of our website that will email anything you send to my office, or feel free to call my office at 580-4330. You can also follow the city on Facebook and Twitter if you like those applications, and we're working on some more ways for you to keep up or report or share things that you see in and around the community. In addition, we have partnered with Wayne County to host this news show throughout the day so that you can see current updates of what is going on. I would like to share a few of the projects that have been active over the past year. Some of these are maintenance items, but many of them represent an investment in Goldsboro's future. Many of these projects use city funds to leverage county, state, or federal funds. We believe these projects are good for Goldsboro. The first one is our streetscape project. We are finishing the first block in front of City Hall from Ash Street to Mulberry at a cost of around $2 million. Again, it should be open in early November, and we're excited to see it coming together. The City Council will discuss the next blocks over the coming months on whether or not to proceed. Our hope in doing this is that we will reinvigorate downtown. It has worked in other communities. We believe it will work here, and the civic clubs and members of them that I've spoken with believe we need to do something for downtown. They're just not sure what. Whether they like streetscape or not, they do believe downtown's important. We've also had a group of committed citizens working on an Air Force museum at the corner of Ash and Spence. We have hired a consultant to study the cost to renovate, purchase exhibits, and operate an Air Force museum. This study should be completed, and we'll start getting preliminary results in October and a final reporting in November. And the City Council will have to decide at that time how to move forward. Is it the right time to make the investment that will be required, or is this a project that we should do at some point in the future and with other partners? Union Station has been a part of our history for a long time. In its current state, we have worked with the Department of Transportation to preserve the structure so that it doesn't deteriorate any further. It is currently owned by the City of Goldsboro. We have sought grant funds over the years and will continue to seek grant funding for its renovation, but it is a project that today is not first in line for funding, but one that continues to be important to us and the future rail service that we've talked about coming back to Goldsboro. I believe this project's a good project. It's just when is the right time to move forward, and the availability of outside funding will help move it further up on our list of things to build. Our Gateway Transfer Station. The city and county will consider funding the construction of this facility at some point adjacent to Union Station. State and federal grants are available to pay up for 90% of the construction costs. So while I don't want to make light of that, because grant money is still tax dollar money in most cases, I think for our community, the transfer center we have today is in dire need of a new facility. It is not adequate to serve the needs of our community. We are working, again, along with the county to try to build a new transfer station at a cost of around $4 to $5 million. So it's a significant investment, with 90% of that cost paid by the state and federal government, the other 10% to be paid locally by the city and or county. So that's a project I think you'll hear more about in the near term as opposed to long term. City Council has also allocated and agreed to install sidewalk along Wayne Memorial Drive, or Wayne Memorial Boulevard, from Goldsboro High School to US 70. State funding is available to pay up to 70% of the construction cost to install the sidewalks at this location. So again, we're using city funds leveraged with state funds. So that will install sidewalk again from Goldsboro High along Herman, Wayne Memorial out to US 70. We've also talked about the Berkeley Boulevard widening project from Royal Avenue to New Hope Road for a number of years. The city entered into an agreement where we would purchase the right-of-way for this project, and we have purchased some of it, and the state funding would be available for construction. We had hoped to have this project going to construction in August of 2012. We have not quite finished our right-of-way acquisition, and we hope that in early 2013 that part will be done and that our State Department of Transportation can begin widening Berkeley to 4 lanes from Royal Avenue all the way up to New Hope Road. The city traffic signalization project was completed over this past year. All traffic signals are now monitored and maintained by the city of Goldsboro that are in and around the Goldsboro area. This project costs just over $4.6 million, with the state paying 84% of the construction costs. So again, we're leveraging city money with state funds to serve our community. The state will also provide annual funding for the signal system maintenance and some of our staff time, particularly or primarily our traffic engineer, to make sure the system is running correctly. The hardware side of this project is complete. The software timing to help the signals work and move traffic in progression is being implemented and refined, and you should continue to see improvements in traffic movement along corridors such as Wayne Memorial, Ash Boulevard, Berkeley Boulevard, Spence Avenue, etc. We had a lot of talk of annexation over the past year. As most of the community is aware, a local bill was passed by our state legislature this past year that removed an area that was lawfully annexed into the city, the Fallingbrook area, and removed it from the city limits. With changes in the state law, future involuntary annexations are not likely to happen. The removal of the Fallingbrook area also freed up over $6 million in sewer bond money that had been set aside to provide sewer service to the Fallingbrook community. We still have many needs within our sewer system in terms of aging manholes and pipes and pumps. And we are working to redirect that $6 million in bond funds towards projects that will be maintenance activities as opposed to expansion of our sewer system. You will see that work over the coming years. A service change that many in the community have seen is related to recycling. The city did go from a sorted cycle where the residents were asked to sort into bins in their garbage container to a commingled curbside recycling. This was done for a number of reasons. Primarily, cost drove it. We can do it with less staffing, so that saves the city and you as the residents paying those cost money. But it also made for an easier method with the hopes of increasing our recycling volumes and safer working conditions for our employees because they don't have to walk around that trailer and put things in different compartments. It is a much quicker action for them at the road and curb, and we believe it's safer, more efficient, and better service to our citizens. Our sanitation employees are commended for making this a fairly smooth transition for our citizens. Behind the scenes, the city is producing the water that you drink on a daily basis from the Neuse River, treating it, cleaning it. We've invested over $2.5 million in plant upgrades at our water treatment plant to ensure that we have a high quality, safe, reliable water supply for the foreseeable future. That project is coming to an end, but it's been an active project over these past 12 months. We also completed a park maintenance building. We had a very small building behind our Herman Park Center on Ash Street. We constructed a new maintenance building over our Peacock Park and have moved our maintenance operations there where our staff is excited to have space to actually pull equipment in and do the required maintenance inside as well as storage and other areas within this building to better serve our park side of our community. Street resurfacing is always an area of concern. There are many streets within the city that are maintained by our State Department of Transportation, but there are also quite a few that are maintained by the city of Goldsboro. We need approximately $500,000 a year to keep our streets in adequate condition. We're behind in terms of maintenance on our streets. City Council did allocate $900,000 this year to be spent for street resurfacing, and the community should start seeing that work sometime in the spring of 2013 with the goal of completing that work towards the end of June of 2013. Stony Creek Park, the city did apply for and receive a PARTEF grant some years ago. It's a 50-50 match, so again, leveraging our money. But the shelters, bathrooms, and some more entrance improvements should begin over the next 2 months with the hope of completing those by the end of December or early January timeframe. Our W.A. Foster Community Center has served the community for a very long time. The existing facility is really inadequate in terms of spacing for our needs for play within a gymnasium and in need of significant repair. We are looking for a site to build a new WA Foster, and with our hope of moving forward once the site is identified and the amenities laid out, of being able to go to construction with that project again in early 2013, which should be completed in the fall of 2013. A pretty aggressive schedule, but again, to close one facility, to build a new facility, and improve our parks offerings, I think is very important. Capital items within our budget this year, we continue to have need for vehicles and building maintenance. We never have funded what the departments have felt like they've needed over the year, and this year was no different. But this year we do have over $900,000 for vehicle replacement, which is significant, from garbage trucks to police cars to other vehicles and equipment throughout the city. In addition, we have approximately $2.4 million in our budget for building or other maintenance needs, a lot of those in our water and sewer systems, and they'll be ongoing annual needs for maintenance. I would like to tell you the City of Goldsboro is financially stable. We have an annual budget of over $50 million, but we have to make choices like everyone else and balance our priorities on how we spend the community's money. And we do recognize that it's your money and we are trying to spend it to the best benefit of all of us here. We work to balance all the needs and wants with the available funding. We're using the resources we have in the best way possible. We are currently working with 40 fewer positions than we had 3 years ago. We have not had to lay off employees or had to ask employees to take time off or furloughs, as many communities have had to do. And I do want to thank our employees for stepping up, and I hope you haven't seen that reduction in staff, that our service level we have tried to maintain at the same level, but again, working with approximately 40 fewer positions or almost 10% of our workforce, and still, we believe, meeting the needs of the community in an adequate manner. I do share with our employees that perceptions matter. And as city employees, we have to be aware of what we're doing looks like to others that observe our actions. As we all know, people are always watching and forming opinions, and I hope that we are giving you a good opinion of city employees and what we're doing with the funds you send to us. I will tell you, as I ride throughout town and see employees working, if something looks odd to me, I will call their department head to ask them why we're doing this or that, or why are we waiting here or there. What I find most of the time is there is a valid reason. A piece of equipment is broken down, we're responding to a silent alarm. There are reasons for what we're doing most of the time. Occasionally there's things that we need to correct, but most of the time our employees are doing what they need to be doing to do their job to serve the community. But if something doesn't look right to you, please don't hesitate to call me or email me what you've seen and let me know, and I will look into it and respond to you and tell you what was going on at that time and why it was either okay or why it wasn't, and to assure you that we've taken action to correct that. We ought to be doing reasonable things, and as long as we're doing them in accordance and providing service to the community and can defend while we're doing that, I think our employees are living up to what I expect of them. In closing, I would like to tell you that I have enjoyed my first year in Goldsboro. My family has adjusted very well. The community has been extremely welcoming, and many of you have been a big part of that. I ask all of us, employees, myself, and almost any group I speak to look for the good in our community. What you say about Goldsboro matters. And while we have some problems, as most communities do, we have a lot of good things that make this a great place to live and work. So please do your part to speak well of it. You never know who's listening, and you never know what impact you'll have on that person. Again, if you have questions about what they're doing, or ideas, or things we should consider, or things you'd want to know, you can use the Citizen Request tab on our website anytime. Top left corner, black tab there says Citizen Request. That will email into my office, or you can always call, speak with someone, or leave a voicemail in my office at 580-4330. Again, that number, 580-4330. Again, thank you for allowing me to serve. We are here to serve you, and call if we can help. Thanks.
We're back on WGTV today. It's Thursday, October 4th, Bob Hill's birthday.
Is
Just
it?
thought I'd mention that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
October is a busy month for my family, too.
Is it really?
Out of the 4 of us,
Yeah.
3 of us have a birthday in October.
Really?
We sure do.
3 and well, who's the oddball?
Elliot, my son.
Oh.
He loves it, though. He's in February, so he doesn't have to share the birthday month with, and also my mom's birthday, so we all are busy in October.
So it's Elliot and George and Abe.
Yeah, there you
right,
go.
Okay.
Yep, they all have February.
There you go. There
So
you
he
go.
shares it with former presidents.
Well, you know, also today, October 4th,
Yes.
and I want everyone to celebrate this, today is National Taco Day. Oh, boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
National Taco Day.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not kidding. Whoa. All right, it's also Dick Tracy Day, marking the day the comic strip detective's debut on this day of the year was 1931 in Detroit. He's been a crime fighter ever since, and they still need all the help they can get. Also on this day, the year 1898, Harold Stilsky was his name, received a patent from the U.S. Patent Office for the refrigerated cow. The refrigerated cow. You see, this was a device that looked like a life-size cow made of steel and was mounted on a wagon and was used to deliver milk door to door. See, this was in 1898, and they did a lot of that stuff back in 1898.
Well, I guess it drew attention that that's what he was delivering.
It did. And the year was 1957 when the very first, when the entire nation was introduced to Theodore Cleaver. Leave It to Beaver, 1957.
Well, they've been around a long time. You talked to him?
I talked to him a couple of 3 years ago, and
Really?
yeah, and his birthday is in June, and he and I are the same age.
I didn't know that.
88,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Too funny, too funny.
Okay.
Well, let me give you an update.
What's going on?
What's going on downtown Goldsboro. Mark your calendars. October the 27th is Jazz on George. If you've never been before, Jazz on George is located at 101 North George Street. There's a lot of that going on. It's a free event. They have free music, food, beverages, children's activities. And of course, it's jazz music, but of course it is just a fun afternoon where you can just be with your family, hang out with friends, listen to jazz music, eat, drink, and be happy. Downtown Goldsboro.
Eat, drink, and be happy.
That's right.
Okay.
Jazz on George, October 27th.
That works. That works. What else do we have? October 18th at noon, the Mayor's Committee for Persons with Disabilities will have their annual awards banquet. That's on the 18th at Herman Park Center. The fee is $12 each, and if you have any questions about that, you can talk to Jeff Whitner and Jeff, or Letary Ward.
I would say, Letary Ward told us about that about a week ago.
That's right. And Jeff is, well, Letary's with the city. She's at 580-4359.
That's right.
All right.
And we've been talking about it for a while now, and if you've driven by Herman Park Center, you have seen it in its being made phases, and that is the Parks and Recreation's Hay Maze.
Hay Maze.
That's right. It is Eastern North Carolina's largest hay maze.
Really?
Yes, and they're in the process of building it now. They said it would take, about a week, but it will be about 6 feet tall, and it is Eastern North Carolina's largest hay maze.
Somebody call Ripley's right now.
We're excited to have something kind of unique like that
in
Goldsboro.
Unique,
It's on the front lawn of Herman Park Center, and you can reserve it for groups to come and participate and have a good time, but also you can come on your own. We thought earlier that it was going to be a free event, and I apologize for saying that because it is not free. It is $3 for adults, and not much, and $2 for children, just enough to cover the hay, the expense of the hay. But it will be in the afternoons from 4 until 8 p.m., and it'll be every Friday and Saturday through the month of October. So love to have you out there. I think it'll be a fun event.
It will be a fun event, and it is unique to this area, and I hope the first of many.
I'm sure it will be.
We need to keep our hay farmers in business.
That's right.
Okay.
What else is going on?
Well, let's see. We have Celebrate the Art of Survival. This is about cancer survival. On October 9th, which is next Tuesday, between 5:30 and 7:30 at Wayne Memorial Hospital. It is a free event featuring artwork and jewelry created by area cancer survivors, a harp and violin music presentation by members of the North Carolina Symphony.
Wow, that's nice.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Well, it's nice that they're having the survivors come, and and bring their artwork. That's
that is
fantastic.
Great. Of course, dance lessons from Top Hat Ballroom. Way to go, Doctor.
That'll be me. Yeah, Dr. Z.
Yeah, Dr. Z. Dance lessons. Plus, you can schedule a mammogram. You can get, there'll be chocolate fountains and mini massages and a hula hoop contest. So there's going to be a lot going on.
What's that date again?
Again, the date is next Tuesday, October 9th at Wayne Memorial Hospital. It starts at 5:30 in the evening. Tuesday evening, 5:30 at Wayne Memorial Hospital. If you want to register.
Where in Wayne? Where at Wayne?
You know, in the dining room.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, one of my favorite places. In the dining room there at the hospital. And if you want to know more about this, you can call the hospital at 919-731-6299. 919-731-6299. Wayne Memorial Hospital. Sounds like a
nice event.
It does. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It does.
All right.
Let's see. You know what? Have you seen the downtown ornaments that they have made through the years? They look like brass.
Yes.
And they're I guess, cutouts of various buildings and things like that. Well, they have them on sale. The 2012 limited edition holiday ornaments are on sale right now.
Christmas tree ornaments.
Christmas tree ornaments.
Oh, I love those.
And they are, like I said, they're brass ornaments that depict different downtown historic buildings. And they're on sale. They're $15 each, and you can get those at the DGDC building, which is Downtown Goldsboro Development Building. And they have those. They'll have them through Christmas. They'll also have them, I believe, at Lights Up Downtown, which is November 22nd.
Yes.
They'll have them there as well. But they're beautiful holiday Christmas tree ornaments, and they're collector's items.
Yes, they are.
And I don't know if you've seen them, but if you have not, they are beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Look very much like
and
multiple buildings from the Paramount
to
the Veterans Memorial.
Yes.
Oh, they're beautiful.
They are, and I think they've always been $15.
They have.
They have never gone up in price. And I have a couple of those, or more than a couple, but they are
they're really
gorgeous.
nice, and it's just something you can keep forever.
Yeah.
And you just never know what will happen in the future, and you've got those to remind you
That's right.
of beautiful historic buildings in our community.
That's exactly right. So they're on sale again.
They're
where?
on sale now, and they're $15, and they're at the Downtown Goldsboro Development Corporation, which is located. What is that street, Wayne?
This is Walnut.
On Walnut Street. I believe they're on Walnut
Right in front of the courthouse.
Yes.
Is Walnut Street.
Well, that's where they are located.
Okay, very good. Okay. All right, coming up, Kim spoke with Goldsboro Police Chief Jeffrey Stewart. We have that for you right now, right?
That sounds good. We did. We talked about a lot of the different tactics and tools they are using to address the violence that is going on in our community. So I think you'll be interested in hearing what Chief Stewart has to say. Hi, welcome to What's Happening in Your City. I'm Kim Best, your host. Today we're here to talk with Goldsboro Police Chief Jeff Stewart. We're here to discuss the recent spike in crime in our community. Hi, Chief Stewart. How are you this morning?
Great. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. We are ready to talk about the recent spike in our crime. We're ready to talk about what the Goldsboro Police Department is doing short-term and long-term to address these issues. And we're going to talk about how the community can help as well.
Great. I look forward to talking with you and the community to address these serious issues that we're facing.
And they are very serious.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about first, like we said, in the past few months, there's been a lot of crime activity has been spiked, much more so than in recent years, and this has happened over the past few months.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me what is the Goldsboro Police Department doing in the short term to address these serious issues?
Well, in the short term, we're focusing our resources on the known areas of concern, the areas where these crimes are happening.
Mm-hmm. Are they localized?
Yeah, they seem to be, in different pockets of the city. You're going to be seeing a lot more uniformed police officers patrolling there, actually getting out of their vehicles, foot patrol, bike patrols. We're also going to be using the Goldsboro Command vehicle. Mm-hmm. We've been authorized, the council gave us some overtime money to put this vehicle out there.
That's the Mobile Command Center?
Yes, ma'am. And they're going to be out there at peak hours, different hours. We'll change the hours up as needed, just to have our presence in those areas.
Right. You mentioned having the patrolmen out actually on foot and on bicycles, and that's the implementation of your community policing program that you started 1st of September, correct?
Absolutely, and it's working very well. We've made a number of arrests with our bike patrol, our foot patrols. The community, they seem to really enjoy it. The officers are interacting with the community. We're getting some leads, information. It's been a success.
So how does that work? How does the police officers being in the community, How does that change things? What does that make the community want to do?
Well, I think we kind of, over the years, we got used to staying in the cars with technology. I mean, we have our MDTs in there, our camera systems, and we didn't need to interact as much. If we wanted to identify somebody, as long as we can make visual contact, they could be a block, 2 blocks away, and we could just zoom our camera up on them and reach over to our MDT and say, yep, that's that person. Well, 15 years ago, you had to get out of the car and talk to people to find people you had warrants on or you need to serve criminal summons on. So I think we've lost a little bit of that, and that's what we're trying to get back. Just basically getting out there and communicating with the citizens.
Right,
letting them know
building
who we
that
are.
trust and relationship.
I mean, I've been into schools and I've told the kids that we don't want you running from us, we want you running to us.
Well, and so that's one of the main things you're doing is the community policing program that you started September the 1st.
Absolutely.
And obviously it's working. Because you said you've seen a recent spike in calls and information that has been sent to the police department. Is that correct?
Yeah, on a few of these cases we're investigating, we've had a lot of community involvement in it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's community policing, and then you said the mobile command unit is out there invisible. People can see it.
Yep.
They see that you are there in those particular areas or those pockets throughout our community where the violent crimes continue to happen over and over.
Absolutely.
So with that mobile command unit, what are the positives? What are the good reasons for us to have that?
Well, one, it's very visible. It's a large van with the blue lights constantly going. We want people to know we're in the area. And then we can do several things from it. We can launch bike patrols, foot patrols. Officers can come in there and go over the paperwork. I mean, there's just a lot of things we can do with that vehicle.
Right. Well, they were our short-term goals. So now with our more long-term goals, we're talking about, over the next few months, what can we do in the long term to really continue to work on this spike in crime?
Well, the council, again, the city manager and council authorized me to hire an additional sergeant's position to formulate something similar to the High Point model, which has been very successful over the past 15, 20 years in the city of High Point.
Right, and I believe you called it the Community Partnership Program.
Right.
Okay.
That's going to be her title. She's going to be working with community volunteers, the DA's office, and she's going to be the coordinator of this.
Okay, so she will spend all of her time
Absolutely.
working with this new community partnership program.
Right.
So can you give us a few more details? What does this program do? I know you mentioned High Point is the model that you all are following. So tell me, what does this program do? So you mentioned who all you would have involved.
Well, basically, it stems from a research done by Dr. David Kennedy, who actually was involved in writing a book from Boston, Massachusetts, in Operation Ceasefire back in 1996. And then the High Point developed their plan from that book. And it's been very successful. Basically what it is most of the crimes in any given city, not Goldsboro, it could be anywhere in the United States, is committed by the same bunch of people.
The same groups of people?
Absolutely. I mean, you can read the papers, sometimes you read the same names over and over again. And what it actually does is you just focus in on this group of individuals. And then, you work up your cases, and then you bring them, family members in and say, listen, the civilian volunteers, representatives from the district attorney office are on board, the police department have a representative there and say, listen, if this happens again, this is what's going to happen.
So they're hearing their consequences up front.
Right, and then they'll be served a notice, so they understand.
So you're bringing to the table the people that are committing the crime, their family members,
Absolutely.
district attorney's office representatives.
Well, they're on board with the High Point model.
Okay, so you're bringing in your people within the law. You're bringing in, of course, representatives from the police department,
Right.
and then you're bringing in community members that have a vested interest in this.
Exactly right.
So all of these people together are meeting with these people who are committing the crime, this small group of people that are committing the crime.
Absolutely.
And so you're working with them to say, if you do this again,
This is
or
what's
if
gonna
you
happen.
commit another crime, this is what's going to happen to you.
And more than likely, they will go through the trial process, and they will, you get a minimum and a maximum. And I'm sure if they violate that crime, we're going to push for the maximum sentence. And
Right.
it means prison time.
Right, exactly. So they're not going to be getting right back out again.
Exactly.
Okay, they're going to be put away for long periods of time. Well, talking about High Point, since that's where this model is based upon, tell me a little bit more about their success rate that they had, or how were their successes
Well,
I
I actually went probably about 3 weeks ago and talked to the chief from High Point. And they love it. I mean, he's the third chief that's had this High Point model in place.
The third chief? So this means they've been using this model for years.
Yeah, and when it first started, they were able to go into these areas where the violent crimes were being done, and that they were able to decrease it by 30%. And that's huge.
Oh my goodness. Well, I would believe some of the statistics you were saying was out of the 900 people that participated in the program in one given amount of time, over 800 did not become repeat offenders.
I think that's from the start to now.
The start to the finish.
Correct.
Wow, that's still a large number. 800 out of 900 that are not repeat offenders in that area. That's a significant drop in the amount of crimes in that area. And so not only they used this particular model on whatever happened to be the most criminal activity at that time, and then through the years they've used it on whatever happens next. Is that correct?
I think they first targeted the violent offenders.
Right.
People that would gun violations, shooting incidents, but yeah, it'll work on any crime.
So
Absolutely.
We're bringing that to Goldsboro.
And it's going to take some time to get it set up. But again, we've got the person picked out for it, and we're starting that process now.
Well, it sounds like the city council, the mayor and city council definitely are putting their money where their mouth is.
Oh, very supportive.
They're supportive of this program. They're doing anything that will be in the best interest of solving these crimes and preventing these crimes short term and on the long term.
And with that being said, I think we need to also commend the citizens from Goldsboro that are stepping forward and also assisting.
Absolutely. And like you said earlier, whether it's because of the community policing program that you've implemented back in 1st of September, or whether it's a combination of that and the citizens are tired of the violence.
That's going well. Basically what we did is we've taken the police department and we've kept the officers in their assigned zones for a period of 6 months now, instead of rotating them every month. And then we split each zone into quadrants, and we have residential wards where you should be seeing the officers getting out of the police cars, going up in these residential areas and addressing citizens' concerns.
So getting to know the citizens, building trust,
Absolutely.
And they're in the community long enough periods of time that you do get to see the same face over and over, and you do get to build relationships with these officers. So you feel comfortable calling them if you see something unusual or odd in your community.
And they're also sharing information with one another in that zone. So it's working. We're starting to see the trickle-down effects of some really good arrests. And I'm very pleased with the process so far.
Well, that's a great positive step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Well, with the increase in community involvement in solving these cases and preventing this criminal activity, how do you see things moving in the future? Do you see us being able to start getting this under control?
Yes, absolutely. Again, we need the citizens behind us. The police department, I don't care where it is in the United States, what country it is, a police department relies on their citizens.
Right.
A police department will only be as effective as the citizens. I mean, if the citizens start calling us in with the information, these problems could be over, very shortly.
Right. And like you said earlier, it seems to be every crime, one right after another, seem to be small groups of individuals that are believed to be responsible for most all of these incidents of violence.
And when they're positively identified, they will be arrested, and we will seek the maximum sentence.
Absolutely. It sounds like you all are working diligently to both in the short term and the long term to solve the crimes, but also to find measures to prevent crimes as much as anyone can do.
All the officers are volunteering, again, for the Mobile Command Center. The officers during this spike in crime. Is there anything else I can do? I can't say enough for our investigative unit. Those teams of investigators have worked around the clock, logging in the past 2 weeks over 400 hours of overtime.
Oh my goodness.
They care.
Absolutely.
And that's one message I really want to get to the citizens, is your officers care about this community, and they will do anything they can. They just need your help.
Is there certain numbers that they can call Chief Stewart if they want to, if they see something odd or if they see criminal activity? What are the sources? Who do they call?
Well, they can call the Goldsboro Police Department at 919-580-4239, or they can always call Crime Stoppers, 919-735-2255. Again, we will follow up on any lead that they give us.
Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate the information on what the Goldsboro Police Department and our community can do together to partner to make our community better, to stop this increase in violence. I know you care. I know your department cares. You want to solve these cases and you want to prevent them in the future.
Oh, yeah. Yes, ma'am. We want this to stop. Goldsboro is a beautiful city. It really is. We just need to get a small group of individuals under control.
Well, it sounds like you all have a plan, both short-term and long-term, and we appreciate what you're doing, and we appreciate you asking the community for help. So if you have any information that you'd like to share, Chief Stewart has just given you 2 different numbers you can call the Goldsboro Police Department or Crime Stoppers, and we appreciate anything and everything you as a community can do to help us. Like he said, Goldsboro is as good and the police department is as good as its citizens. So thank you so much. If you have questions, feel free to call those numbers or information. Thank you for listening to what's happening in your community.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
We're back on WGTV today, and Kim, it's a Thursday, it's October 4th. Time is just moving right on by. We're already in the last quarter of the year. We're down to the last quarter.
Wow. Well, October is here and it is flying by already.
Yeah.
Our months just go really fast. Days just seem to fly, so we need to take advantage of every day. Enjoy your family, enjoy your coworkers and your friends, and take each day and live it to the fullest, because we never know what tomorrow holds.
Never know. And speaking of flying,
yes.
I spoke with Jimmie Edmundson.
Yes.
About a very important topic that can have a
yes.
major effect on us here in Wayne County. You need to listen to what he has to say and what may be going on that you have no idea about this happening to us here in Wayne County. It is very serious. Listen to this. On WGTV this morning, we're talking with Jimmie Edmundson. And Jimmie, you're with the Military Affairs Committee today.
Yes.
As you are every day.
Yes.
But this morning we want to specifically talk about something that could have a big effect on Wayne County. Let's talk about the controversy of the wind farms that are proposed for the, I think it's the Dare County area.
Yes. Actually, in Beaufort County near Pantego,
yes.
There is a planned wind farm with about 49 wind turbines. Unfortunately, 38 of them have been plotted inside a low-level route that Seymour Johnson uses for training its pilots. These wind turbines, we've seen 2 numbers as far as the height. Both of them are a problem. One is 498 feet, the other is 505 feet. And the problem with that, these pilots train at 500 feet in that low-level route. So that is a big issue. And
now we're talking about the height of a 50-story building approximately.
Yes.
50 stories high.
Yeah, and 38 of them.
And 38 of them. Now, this is not an issue of the environment. This is not an issue of renewable energy. This is an issue of national security.
I see it as that. And I think anyone who is concerned about national security would see it as a threat to that. There's a lot of opposition to these wind farms. Wildlife and environmentalists are opposed to it for a lot of reasons. So to back up a little bit, the company is Invenergy. It's a Chicago-based company and have very strong political ties, raise a lot of money for politicians, have received, we've heard 2 numbers, read 2 numbers actually, where they have received either $128 million or $199 million in stimulus money for such projects. They did come to Seymour and spoke with some people in early 2011, talked about this particular wind farm. They were told it was a bad idea. It would interfere with the training. They left. Everyone thought that it was over with. That was in February, March maybe of 2011. In September, they went to the North Carolina Utilities Commission and filed an application to get a permit for this wind farm, and the Utilities Commission issued it. Now, so there's a permit that's been issued. There are some other hurdles that they have to go through. But this thing was kind of far down the road when we learned about it in July. So we have been working it since that time. Now, the other disturbing piece of this is this company has other wind farms planned around the Dare Range. In fact, they have a huge farm planned for the Hells Lake area, which is north of Dare. And then they have a future plan for a farm that, where it's plotted right now, is in the middle of restricted military airspace. So, you know, you got to wonder what these people were thinking.
Well, I see a lot of positives. I see working toward a better environment. I see working toward the benefit of a commercial application. It's a business that is growing. At the same time, I think all that is negated simply by the fact that this is a threat to our national security.
Yeah.
This is where our folks from Seymour Johnson and other bases practice their flying.
All the military in North Carolina and Virginia would be impacted by these wind farms. The Navy, as you know, uses the north side of Dare Range. The New River Air Station does and can use this low-level route with the new Osprey. But and Dare County is a precious piece of real estate from a military perspective. You cannot duplicate Dare Range anywhere on the East Coast. And all F-15 pilots, regardless of what country they're from, they train at Dare County. They come to Seymour and they train at Dare County. So it is a very precious piece of land, and we can't afford to be giving up little pieces of it. What we have read, and you know, we've got mounds and mounds of paper on this thing that we've been collecting since July, is that this wind farm would probably add about $1 million a year to the economy of Beaufort County once it's completed, and create about 2.5 jobs.
2 to 2.5 jobs.
Yes, and you know what Seymour Johnson does for this community.
Yes, indeed.
Between $500 and $600 million a year, plus the jobs. So it is an issue that we have got to stay on top of. The good news is we got the governor to issue an executive order. Unfortunately, that executive order will not help us with the Pantego wind farm because it's already been permitted by the Utilities Commission. But going forward, all the state commissions and boards have to appoint a military liaison, and that person is responsible for bringing to that commission the concerns of the military, and they have to report these issues to the installation commander, and at that point the installation commander would contact their community leaders to let them know if it's an issue or not. So I think the executive order will help us going forward. Unfortunately, this Pantego farm is one that we're going to have to depend on our local, state, and probably our representatives in Washington to get this one fixed.
So how does a citizen of the Wayne County area, Wayne County community, get involved to get involved with this?
Write your local delegation, write your representatives in Congress, Senator Burr and Hagan, Congressman Jones, Butterfield, anyone that has an interest in North Carolina's military. Write them, call them, and ask them to oppose the renewal of the energy tax credits, because without those tax credits, these wind farms don't work. The legislature, North Carolina legislature in 2007 enacted legislation that's going to require utility companies to buy 12.5% of their electric energy from alternative sources by 2021, I think. However, wind energy is very expensive to produce and manufacture. So without the government subsidies, they can't get it down to a price that the utilities company can afford to buy it. So right now, no utility company has agreed to even buy this power because they haven't shown they can produce it at a cost that they can afford to buy it and resell it. So wind energy on the surface sounds like it might be a good idea, but I would encourage anyone to look into wind energy and to read all they can read about it, because it's not the great panacea that everyone that is trying to sell it is trying to get us to believe that it is.
So we need to fight this, and we need to write our representatives in Washington and in Raleigh and anybody else we can think of, and that's regardless of not just Wayne County representatives.
That's right.
We're talking about
That's
Eastern
right.
North Carolina. the Fort Bragg area, the Cherry Point area, the Marine Camp Lejeune, the Wilmington area. All of our representatives in these areas should be aware of what's going on here.
And not only
North Carolina.
The low-level route really impacts Seymour because they have to have that for training.
Yeah.
But all the other routes in the range, if it gets surrounded by all these wind turbines actually interfere with the radar on these planes. So it's a safety issue, it's a training issue, and it's just a bad idea.
Just a bad idea, but what happens, Jimmy, if those turbines go in, they're actually installed? What happens to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base?
Well, Seymour Johnson is the place that trains all F-15E pilots. Without that low-level route, they can't train them, period.
So the risk is of
you lose the training, the 2 training squadrons here, the whole training function here. And you know,
would that put the base at risk?
It could very easily put the base at risk.
We can't afford that.
Can't afford it.
And for several reasons.
Yep.
Monetarily and security-wise.
That's exactly right. And it's obvious that this company has no interest in national security issues, which is unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. Write your congressman, write your representatives, write anybody you can write. Write to Jimmie Edmundson.
That'll be okay,
That's
too.
Okay. Our guest has been Jimmie Edmundson about the controversy surrounding the installation of potential installation of wind farms in eastern North Carolina, affecting our Seymour Johnson Air Force Base and other military bases in eastern North Carolina. Thank you, Jimmie.
Thank you.
I'm Wayne Alley for WGTV. And we're back on WGTV today.
That's right. It is Thursday.
I know, and the weather is fantastic. It's great, great fair weather. Get out to the fair.
It has been. And you know, we want to mark our calendars. There's several other events. October the 13th is United Way's Taste of Wayne, downtown Goldsboro.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you don't have your tickets, you need to get them now. They are on sale at Taste of Wayne or United Way office. They will be offered, I think, other places throughout the community, but that's the one place I know for sure that you can get them is in their office. They are, I believe, $15.
I think so.
And it will be downtown Goldsboro on Center Street on the Commons area. It will be offered on a Saturday, 11:30 to 1:30, I believe. Get your tickets now. It's going to be a fantastic event.
Get your tickets. Get your red hot tickets. There you go.
All that money stays local.
It does. Also, I want to remind everyone about this weekend. This Friday is the Shriners Fish Fry.
That's right.
Oh boy, 3 locations, lots of great food, and all the money, the net proceeds raised, go to the Shriners Children's Hospitals. 3 locations. Number 1 location, you can eat in at Herman Park Center. You can drive through without ever having to get out of your car at Herman Park. Just drive through, stop, you get your food, tell them how many you want, you get your food, you pay your money, you're on your way. The 3rd location's in Mount Olive, between Highway 117 Business and 117 Bypass, right on 55, across from Mount Olive Center, next to Robert's Machine Shop there. And it's only $7 a plate, but I would encourage you to give a little more. Give 8 or 9 if you may, if you can, or 10.
It's such a great cause.
It is such a great cause.
And they really work hard to raise money for these children in these hospitals.
They sure do. You know,
year after year.
You know, we had George in earlier this week, George Racher, and he was telling us about it, about a lot of what the Shriners put into this. But also, there's a lot of local people, volunteers, who help with this as well, who are not Shriners.
That's right.
That they do. So you're in for a great meal. Starts at 11, goes till 2, and then again from 4 till 7 p.m. Please support the Shriners.
What's included on those plates?
Ooh,
you know?
Fried fish, coleslaw, potato salad, and hush puppies.
There you
and
go.
if you eat in at Herman Park Center,
you get a dessert.
you get a there is a dessert table. I think it's
Okay.
$1 per dessert, but man, is it good! And there's all kinds of stuff. And plus, you get iced tea or water there at Herman Park Center at no extra cost there. So that's where I'll be.
Support your local Shriners.
That's right. And then I'll be back for the evening event.
You're going to do it twice.
I always do.
Do you really?
Yeah, I always do. When Fish Fry Friday is one of my favorite times of the year because, number 1, it's supporting the Shriners. Number 2, it's just really good food. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
The lock-in is coming up
Yes.
Friday night to Saturday morning. The lock-in
At the
for
library.
13 to 18-year-olds at the Wayne County Public Library this Friday. Whew. Okay. What else do we have? Yeah.
Chili cook-off coming up. Mark your calendars. Get ready for that. We'll give you more updates. It's the end of October. That supports the Community Soup Kitchen.
That's right.
That's right. If you think you got a good recipe, join in.
Yes, please.
See if you can be the top dog. See if you can be the one who wins.
Yeah, the chief chili person,
There you
cooker
go.
thing.
I think everybody has a really good time just being together throughout that day and decorating their little booth and enjoying being out and about and having the public come and test their recipes.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yep, I'm going to test it myself.
What else do we have? Because we're almost out of time.
We
Anything?
are. Shop local. We just want to start talking to people about shopping local, shop in your own community. It makes a huge difference for our economy, and we want to support our great city, our great community of Goldsboro and Wayne County, and encourage you starting now, because I know people are starting to get ready.
Yeah.
These early birds are getting ready to start shopping for the holidays, so
right.
think about what you can do and some unique places here in Goldsboro that you can shop and keep our money here in Goldsboro.
That's exactly right.
There's a lot of places you may not be aware of that you can shop, just like the Arts Council. They have a gift shop, and it is fantastic. Fantastic at some of the unique items they have. So check out some of the local shops. You might be surprised.
That's exactly right. And join us again every morning from 7 until 8 for WGTV Today.